Okay, I have to do this. I have to do this audio. You know, the question comes to mind is, what are you standing for? I mean, kneeling for with the flag. Now, first of all, let me just say this: we live in the United States of America, and what that means is these soldiers, and I was a soldier myself. We go over to fight for our freedom to be able to speak our minds and do what we want to do, right? Now, by no means can we force someone to stand for a flag. That's the first thing. First of all, this is not a dictatorship. You know, that should be free choice. That, you know, we have freedom of religion, speech, you know, whatever. But my question is this. What are you kneeling for? Now, when this thing first started, it was supposed to be because the way that blacks were treated when it came to, you know, police brutality, right? Which I think is a contradiction because a lot of black men kill each other. Like, of all the races that exist today, black on black crime probably is one of the worst. But it seems like no one pays attention to that. And then everyone has an argument. You know what it seems like, though? It almost seems like this. It seems like if a husband and wife are having a dispute, and then the husband is always, you know, like let's say the wife is always nagging or arguing with the husband. And maybe it's something that he's doing wrong. But instead of admitting that he's doing wrong, he will say, well, you do this and you do that. It almost sounds like an argument like that. Or even put it, you know, go deeper with it, like a kid. A parent comes to a kid and tells a kid, hey, stop it, knock it off, or why did you do that, or why did you get into this fight? And the kid say, well, you didn't pay me to attention. He doesn't address the problem. He just says, well, he just diverts it. So that's what happens. But let me ask you a question. When Martin Luther King was protesting, I want you to visualize this for a second. You could look in the crowd and see a sign that says something like equality, equal rights. You know why you could see those signs? You could see those signs because you knew what they were marching for. Now, lately I've been hearing that now these players are mad at Trump. But I'm like, hold on. Didn't this start off as police brutality and fighting against that? Black, African American men that were getting, you know, killed innocently by police officers. And then all of a sudden, this turned into, we don't like Trump. So my question is is this like a fad? Or are they just doing it just because? Or is there any meaning behind it? Because if men don't never come, this is why wars exist. If men can't sit down and actually talk things out, that's disaster. So I get that, you know, like for instance, when Muhammad Ali, let's say when he protested or whatever, you know what he's protesting for? Like Muhammad Ali didn't want to go to the Vietnam War. Because one of his favorite phrases is that the Viet Cong, or whatever you call them, he said, they never did anything to me, which is true. No one knew what that war was. I commit, but you knew why he didn't do it. So I want you to visualize something. When these guys are protesting, what sign is on the sideline? What is the cause? Like, if you're protesting, like, for instance, if you have a group of workers that are outside striking, and a news reporter came up to them and said, hey, why are you guys striking? And if they said, I don't know, or if they gave multiple different reasons, and they didn't have any signs or anything with the cause, how would the how would the actual supervisor, boss, or anything know what to change? So exercise your right to kneel, but what are you kneeling for? Because if you're kneeling for cops to stop killing black men or whatever, first of all, you got to look at that deeper. A lot of times people look at it on the top surface. What do I mean by that? And I want you to be 100% honest with yourself. Are there black men? Let me just take the word black out of it, because there's all different races that kill each other. But see, here's the thing though. When it comes to crime, it's something interesting. Usually when it comes to crime, you have crimes of familiarity. And what I mean by that is, usually white guys are killing white guys. Native Americans are killing Native Americans. Hispanics are killing Hispanics. Very seldom you get, where a black guy is just killing a white guy, or a white guy is killing a black guy. And usually in those situations, a lot of times there's like this big uproar. Right? So what I'm trying to say is, if you're telling cops to stop these senseless killings, there are some killings that are kind of a little fishy. We all know that. And those cops should be, prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. But there are some times where these guys fear for their life, and the people in the car have some freaking tools that they could probably kill the cop with. So as a cop, you got to face this type of danger, right? Sometimes they overreact, sometimes they don't. But if you're going to stop, it's almost like, I use a husband and wife again. You fix, like the husband telling the wife, you fix all your problems and don't worry about mine. Why not fix it as a whole? How about this? How about in the African American community, we come up with a goal. And you know what that goal is? Not to have another killing anywhere in the United States of America. If somebody feels that they can't handle their anger without going to the trunk and shooting somebody, which is a very, very immature way to handle any type of problem, let's say, hey, let's get them some psychiatric help. Because really that's it. Think about it. For those of you who listen to this, how many of you would have a dispute with someone and they disagree with you, and your way of handling the problem is you go and shoot them? It's very immature. So how about zero crime for the rest of the year in any part of the United States of America? Zero. And when I say zero crime, I mean no break-ins, no drive-by shootings, gang activities. Have a truce. Put your damn tools up. It don't make sense to even be in a gang anyway. How about handling that part of the problem, and then also say, hey, there are not going to be any more police shootings or anything like that, because you guys can be calm now. Because the bad guys, because everybody's not bad, but the ones that fall in the category of bad, they have a truce. From now on, anytime they have a problem, they're going to talk it out. Which is what most likely men do. When men have a problem, they're supposed to talk it out. That's being man-like. Right? Because one reason is because if you have kids, somebody that is going to carry your legacy on, and you get shot or killed or whatever, you've caused some serious problems in that family, in your family. So I just want to see, like, if you're going to protest, put a sign up. Have a spokesperson to say what you're trying to end. Like, are you protesting Vietnam War? Are you protesting black on black crime? Are you protesting Trump? That's all I have a problem. I'm not one of these guys that said, like, because I've been in the military, right? I've been in the military. I've seen guys that sacrifice certain things, right? But instead of saying, you know, fight for your foot, you disrespect, because that's what everyone's talking at each other, but not to each other. This thing could be solved, a lot of things in life, from war to relationships to things like this can be solved a lot of the times with a simple conversation. Now here's what's happening. Now these owners are going to react, but no one's really dealing with the problem. Everyone's talking around it. It's disrespectful. Is this okay? Great, but why is it disrespectful? I don't want to stand for the flag. Okay, great, but why you don't want to stand for the flag? Right? That's my thing. Like, I put it to you like this. No one could get into a bar fight if they don't go to the bar. No one can get arrested for drugs if they don't do drugs or don't go to a neighborhood that has it. Right? So I think this thing is a challenge for both sides. But kneeling with no silence, with no words, I don't think it makes common sense. What do you guys think?